Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. Last week, we spoke about Yisrael al-Yaleib by the Rebbe Chana. Today I want to share with you, talking about Rebbe Chana, I want to mention there are letters here that the Rebbe Chana wrote. I have quite a few letters here. Maybe I'll share with you in the future. And Bechal letters of the Rebbetzins we have here. There's, for example, there's a letter here that the Rebbe Chana sent the day before her passing away, before Vav Tishrei. It says here, she sent it to Mrs. Nemtsov, my wife's grandmother, the mother-in-law of Rabbi Mindel. She was very close to Mrs. Nemtsov. And she wrote, and she sent it that day, Friday. She passed away on Shabbos, and this is a letter that she wrote on Friday. Unbelievable. There's also to somebody else she wrote a letter. She used to write, but her handwriting, all the Rebbetzins' handwriting looked more or less the same. I mean, it was very hard to understand. For example, here I have a letter a very interesting letter, let's say from Rebbetzin Chamedina Schneerson. Also, she used to write look like circles. A letter from Rebbetzin Sternesore. Also here, that's how she used to write. And this is the writings of Rebbetzin Chana. Anyways, maybe another program I'll show you what it says here. I will share with you a letter of Rebbetzin Chayemushke, 2 pages that I just found written in Russian. Maybe I'll read it. A letter to a friend. But Mrs. Nemtsov's yahrzeit is coming up soon, so the Rebbetzin Chana was close to her, and talking about the writing, she wrote to her, so I want to, Lilu Nishmosa, I want to mention something about Mrs. Nemtsov. She passed away, she was about 115 years old. She's buried near the Rebbetzin Chana. If you go to the Oyel, you'll see. The Rebbetzin Chana is on the left, she's on the right. Closer to the Oyel. On the same row. And it says on the Matzeva that she lived around 110 years. And the reason it says that, because it was asked the Rebbe, what should we be on the Matzeva? Excuse me. So the Rebbe said you shouldn't write 115. You should write around 110, not more than Yosef Hatzadik. I don't know why. So you can see that it says around 110, but she was 115. She was a special woman, close to the Rebbe Chana. So I just want to tell you what kind of person she was. She in Long Beach. She lived in Long Beach. She lived together with my in-laws, and Pesach, before Pesach, they had to go to New Haven to her mother-in-law sister, and I took her to Borough Park to her nephew. So when I took her to her nephew, she was then probably 107, 106, I remember. So I took her, it was out of Pesach, and they had a table full table of Pesach things and matzahs and the mortar and wine and jar of fish that they bought COVID Pesach and everything. Table was full. This was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I sat her down on the head table. And the table was very, very long table. And she was sitting. And I was standing next to her. She was looking. All of a sudden she called her angel Miriam. She was about 17, 18 years old. Come here, Miriam. I want to ask you something. Over there at the end of the table, what is this? So Miriam said, this is fish for Pesach. Good. A few minutes later, again, she asked Miriam, what is this? She pointed on the same thing. So Miriam said, is this what you pointed? He said, yes. He said, this is fish. Good. Third time again, what is this? This is fish. So Miriam took the jar fish and she said, Baba, you know what? I'll come to you. I'll take the jar. I'll show it to you. So you'll see it closer. She takes the fish. She gives a look. It says not for Passover use. I guess they bought ready-made fish for Pesach. And the store, they made a mistake or there was a mix-up between kosher and not kosher. So she felt, she didn't see. It doesn't say not for Passover because I couldn't see either. It's very small words. But here we see what kind of woman Mrs. Nemtsov was. She was mamish Isha Tzidkonius. So she was very close with the Rebbetzin, with the Rebbetzin Chane. So here I want to, speaking about Rebbetzin Chane, so Rebbetzin Chane wrote a letter to her, the last letter before Vav Tishrei was written to Mrs. Nemtsov. Here I want to read to you that I found a letter from Rebbetzin Chayemushke that I found written in Russian. Also, we can read it. It took me a long time until I finally asked somebody to read it for me. This is written in Russian. This is I mean, there's certain private things which I'm not going to read, but what I could read, I'm just going to read how she felt, how she wrote to a friend. Dear whoever, let's say Sora, the name was not Sora, but dear Sora, I read your broken and distressed letter you wrote to me, pains me very much. I don't want to postpone anymore writing to you. I speak to you often and you are always in my thoughts. But writing is more personal. And now about this person, we both know, and I don't want to mention the name because people know who it is. There is nothing to be done to help, especially your attitude to this person. You would undoubtedly be upset if I will bring it up in a letter. She turned poorly and she then also fell, broke her left arm. She didn't want to go to the hospital. And when her husband returned home from work, we made sure to take her immediately to the doctor, and the doctor put a cast on her. Because this is people that they were friendly with. She assures that she feels good, but the way she looks is far from confirming it. She walks and everything is always, thank God. Consoles herself with the fact that it did not happen to her right hand, but the left hand, because the left hand, so she was very happy because she could use her right hand. The night tonight, I was in touch with her. She told me she will write to you from this and this place when she will get back. But the whole trip turned out to be quite unfortunate. She will probably write to you about it. As you know her, she always treats her ailments lightly. Dear, let's say Sarah, the Rebbe writes, since when I send you the Tehillim, I had a unpleasant feeling that I didn't write to you in more detail. I hope you are not upset. This consciousness weighs me down very much. And besides, I really want to know how you live. I want to receive good news from you. You always try as much as you can to always write good, the pleasant side of life. But you should know, even the easiest, the good has its own shadow side. This is more or less word for word. You know, we are interested in everything about you. And when there is no news for a long time, it worries me, my dear. You know, in our family, you are very much loved and appreciated, but always in a moment when you need something bigger and stronger and more confident support, it's even greater to try helping. Try to have strength for the sake of your son, not to break your health, not destroy your nerves. Your son needs a healthy mother. For him, it is very important in life. That consciousness alone should make you remember that your strength and healthy spirit are needed in your life. I was in the city today to buy some things to my niece in England. Niece meaning, as we spoke last week, labels had a daughter labeled the Rebbe's brother, and she bought things for her. A friend is flying to England, and she offered to take everything that I bought. Do you remember somebody who became a chos in Kala, or whatever she goes into it very much, which I don't want to mention? This is a handwritten letter from the Rebbetzin. There's more letters from the Rebbetzin, but we have no time today. So, Imir Hashem, next week we will continue our weekly program.